Today at sundown starts Hanukkah, the time that we celebrate God's miracles for His people. And as we think about Hanukkah, think about the miracles in your own personal life that God has given you, that He's been mindful of you, and that He's done great things for you. So think of the miracles of old, think of the miracles at present. I'd like to read from Mark 9:14 to 29. And when we read this, just remember that all things are possible with God. Nothing is impossible. This is Mark 9:14 to 29. When they came back to the other 9 disciples, they saw a large crowd around them and scribes questioning and arguing with them. Immediately, when the entire crowd saw Jesus, they were startled and began running up to greet him. He asked them, "What are you discussing with them?" One of the crowd replied to him, "Teacher, I brought you my son possessed with a spirit which makes him unable to speak. And whenever it seizes him, intending to do harm, it throws him down and he foams at the mouth and grinds his teeth and becomes stiff. I told your disciples to drive it out, and they could not do it." He replied, "O unbelieving, faithless generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I put up with you? Bring him to me." They brought the boy immediately, and immediately threw the boy into convulsion, and falling to the ground, he began rolling around and foaming at the mouth. Jesus asked his father, "How long has this been happening to him?" And he answered, "Since childhood. The demon has often thrown him both into fire and into water, intending to kill him. But if you can do anything, take pity on us and help us." Jesus said to him, "You say to me, if you can? All things are possible for the one who believes and trusts in me." Immediately the father of the boy cried out with a desperate, piercing cry, saying, "I do believe. Help me overcome my unbelief." When Jesus saw that a crowd was rapidly gathering around them, he rebuked the unclean spirit, saying to it, "You deaf and mute spirit, I command you, come out of him and never enter him again." After screaming out and throwing him into a terrible convulsion, it came out. The boy looked so much like a corpse, so still and pale, that many of these spectators said, "He is dead." But Jesus took him by the hand and raised him, and he stood up. When he had gone indoors, his disciples began asking him privately, "Why were we unable to drive it out?" He replied to them, "This kind of unclean spirit cannot come out by anything but prayer to the Father." And some versions will say by prayer and fasting. Now this is an important lesson. Somebody listening to the Little Rascals there?
Ice cream, somewhere.
This is an important teaching for us today because it applies to us today. We believe that God can do anything. We believe that He can do all kinds of small things, and He can help us find keys, and He can help us remember to lock a door, and He can help us to remember to call somebody on the phone. We all believe for those things, and we give Him credit for those things. But what about the big things? The big things, He's able to do those. But it's our faith in knowing that He can. So He says that these things come up by faith or by prayer and fasting, which means that we need to get right with God. We need to be in a direct relationship with God where we can really believe for those big things too in our lives, and not just the small things, because all things are possible with Him. So whatever you're facing in life, keep in mind that God is not only able, but He is desirous to help us. And He is so wanting us to come to Him. He wants us to come to Him with our bad stuff, with our good stuff, with everything that we have. He is a loving Father. Think of the things that you would tell your Father. things that you would share with him, things that you would, the relationship that you would have with him, and think how much more your relationship with your Heavenly Father is. So believe God for the big things, and the small things, and the medium-sized things.
Amen.
In Yeshua's name, amen.